Come with me today as I am doing some cozy winter homemaking during and after the most recent winter storm. I am taking this opportunity to be snowed in at home, to bake, clean, and just get some things done that are both helpful and fun. So snuggle up on the couch with a coffee and join me for a cozy winter day at home. I hope you enjoy this video and consider subscribing to my channel. Before the storm came, we made some preparations. I went ahead and made a big batch of taco soup, so in case we lost power, we could heat it up ourselves on our wood stove. This taco soup recipe is from the Hope's Table cookbook. I also made a batch of chocolate chip cookies. Now, I know this is not a necessity by any means, but we always seem to have them on hand around here, so it made sense to have a good supply for the upcoming storm. This recipe is from I Heart Eating, and I will link it below in the description box. In my opinion, it is the best chocolate chip cookie recipe that you will find. These clips are from the day before the storm began. I spent some time in the kitchen making the soup, cookies, and as you'll shortly see, some pizza as well. I also made sure to get all of our dishes and laundry done just in case we lost power or our pipes froze. My husband prepared for the storm outside by getting firewood together and getting the tractor ready to move snow and just ensuring that our chickens and the cow had what they needed to brave the storm. Thankfully, we only got snow and did not end up losing power. The temps were so bitterly cold though. The only issue that we had was that our water pump froze for a short amount of time one morning. So we are definitely grateful that it was not worse. I made pizza for supper this day so that we could save the soup for the next day, again in case we lost power. This recipe is also from Hope's Table. I really love this cookbook because it has so many easy, tasty, and simple recipes in it. I have a link in the description box if you're interested in picking up a copy of this great cookbook. I wanted to get some clips when the storm started, so I went outside. It was still pretty cold, but I just wanted to kind of get a glimpse of where we were before we got all of the winter weather. And as we were getting ready for this storm, I was thinking about what I wanted to do with my time during the time that I would inevitably be snowed in. I also thought about what I would do and what I could do if we lost power. So I obviously wanted to do some homemaking things, and you'll see some of the things that I did in this video. The day before the storm came in, I also went to the grocery store, which of course was a bad idea. I didn't even really need that much, but I just needed a couple of things. And the bread section was entirely empty, as it usually is when people get word that winter weather is coming in. But it just made me think how grateful I am that I make our bread now and we don't have to buy any. I didn't get any clips, but I did make 4 loaves of bread for my storm prep as well. You could actually check out my video on making bread if you're interested in how to make your own bread as well. I felt like making cinnamon rolls lately, so I decided to make them after the storm came through. This was a great snow day recipe. The recipe I used is from Preppy Kitchen, and I will link it in the description if you want to make these as well. Even though my baby was fighting nap time when I was trying to make these, so that meant I had to start and stop a couple of times, the cinnamon rolls still tasted great. I accidentally added too much flour, so the dough was a little bit dense, but my husband and I still loved them. I started off this recipe by using my KitchenAid mixer. I found this mixer, bowl, and 3 attachments at a garage sale about 10 years ago for $10. I have really enjoyed telling people that story, and it has been a helpful tool for me as I have learned how to bake ever since we got married. However, the mixer really moves around quite a lot when I use it, so it might be nearing its end. I will use it until I can't though. In the summer, we use the ice cream bowl and attachment to make ice cream. We don't really buy ice cream anymore because the homemade stuff is so much better for you without weird ingredients. And it tastes amazing. I moved the dough from the mixer to the counter to finish kneading because the mixer was just bouncing everywhere, so I needed to stop that. You might have noticed that I use our deep freezer as some counter space. This is because we have very little counter area in our kitchen. Cleaning behind the freezer was on my list, so I decided to work on that this day. I use the multi-purpose cleaner from Azure Standard when I clean my surfaces. I buy it in a gallon and then put it in a smaller bottle, and I really like how this stuff cleans. I needed to get behind the freezer because it had been a hot minute since I had cleaned back there, and goodness, I am glad that I took care of that today. Here we are back to our cinnamon rolls. they need to get into this dish. This baking dish is so pretty. I love using it. I got it in a set from Costco a couple of years ago. It also had an 8x8 dish with it, and it just makes me happy when I use this dish. I will generally use glass 9x13 baking dishes from Pyrex or Anchor Hawking, and I really like those because they come with a lid. This one does not have a lid, but some plastic wrap worked okay to keep our cinnamon rolls fresh in the fridge. I created this YouTube channel after several years, probably about 10 years, I would say, of really wanting to start a YouTube channel. Of course, my life 10 years ago looked a lot different than it does now, so I'm sure my interests would have been a lot different, and I probably honestly would not be making a homemaking channel. But now I am really interested in homemaking because that's what I do. I'm at home, I get to care for my home and my family in this way, and I enjoy watching homemaking content. It inspires me, motivates me, entertains me, and that is what I hope to do with my channel as well for other people. I definitely eyeballed the brown sugar and cinnamon for this cinnamon rolls recipe. I made a different recipe of cinnamon rolls a few weeks ago, and I just felt like there wasn't enough cinnamon and brown sugar, so I was really generous with it this time around. I started off using my bench scraper to cut the rolls, but I thought they looked a little funny, so I changed it up and used a serrated bread knife instead. I generally use new fishing line to cut the rolls, but I didn't have any on hand. You could also use unflavored floss to do this. I think the cuts definitely work a lot better using some type of string. I didn't quite get my cuts exactly right, so I got 11 rolls instead of 12, and I had to move them around a little bit in the dish to make it work. I ended up using some of the ends to kind of create a cinnamon roll, even though it wasn't technically one cinnamon roll. I do enjoy my afternoon coffee time. I generally will make myself a coffee, usually decaf, in the afternoon after my baby goes down for the afternoon nap. I got this machine from my husband for Christmas this year, and I have used it every day since then. This is the Casa Brews CM5418 model, and it's an economy espresso machine, but I think it works pretty well for what I want. I don't really need anything fancy. I was fine drinking just drip coffee that was cooled down. I know my coffee friends will say that's terrible, that's not actually coffee, and it definitely did change the game when I got an espresso machine. The latte that I make is pretty simple. I just use maple syrup, heavy cream, and milk, and then I pretty much always will have an iced latte, so I did put some ice in this as well. I'll link this machine if you're interested in it. Again, it's pretty reasonably priced for the espresso machine market. We definitely didn't want to spend a ton of money on one, so this is a good option. My husband was able to get it on sale as well when he got it for me for Christmas. My floors really needed mopped, so I took time to take care of that today on this snowy day inside. I found this Beekeeper made Castile soap at TJ Maxx. It was on clearance, so I thought I'd give it a try. I followed the directions on the package for mopping. It called for a half cup of soap for 3 gallons of water. I didn't really measure the water, so I'm not sure that it was actually 3 gallons, so I kind of eyeballed the soap. I found the soap on Amazon as well, and I'll link it below, but I know there are other brands of Castile soap, like Dr. Bronner's. I think pretty much everyone has this mop at this point, but I love it. I was gifted this mop when we got married, and it is still going strong. I have purchased some replacement heads off of Amazon just to be sure that I have a few in rotation. My husband had this table before we were married. I can't remember if he got it from a family member who didn't need it anymore or from an estate sale. Not exactly sure where it came from, but we really like it. I think it goes really well with the aesthetic that I'm trying to create for our home. It has white tiles and white grout, and the grout has been looking kind of dingy lately, so I decided to get to that today. Now, I have no idea what you're supposed to do for this, so I definitely Googled it. I ended up mixing baking soda, dish soap, and a little bit of water to make a paste, and then I used a toothbrush to scrub the grout with this paste. I think it definitely brightened things up, but there were some areas where I think the grout is actually coming up. I'm not sure how we should fix that. We might have to regrout it or use caulk or something. This is definitely not my wheelhouse, so I have no idea what you're supposed to do. So if you have any suggestions, please leave your suggestions in the comments. I followed up my grout paste situation with some of the Azure Standard multi-purpose cleaner. We found our chairs at a garage sale a couple of years ago. We didn't have matching chairs for a while before then, so I started looking on Facebook Marketplace and just garage sales to see if we could find any chairs that actually all went together. And I'm so happy to say that I found these, and I think we ended up paying like maybe $70 for all 6 of them, maybe less, I can't remember, but I think they go perfectly with the table and I really like them. Our dining area also really needed mopped, so I was sure to get to that. Our kitchen and dining room are pretty much together as our house is just under 1,000 square feet. Kitchen, dining, living, they're all kind of in the same area. After this day of baking and just normal everyday dishes, I needed to address the sink and all of our dishes. We do hand wash all of our dishes because we don't have a dishwasher. We've contemplated getting one, but whenever we think about it, we just feel like it would be easier to just do them by hand, and honestly, we don't really have any space for a dishwasher. I use the Country Save dish liquid from Azure Standard. I think it sets better than the actual Azure Standard brand of dish soap, and I like that its ingredients are a little bit better than some of the mainstream ones. We also use the hand soap from Azure Standard. I just get the actual Azure Clean brand of that, and we really do like that one. I buy it in a gallon because it's cheaper to do it that way, and then I put it in different hand soap dispensers. Thank you so much for coming along with me as I spent some time homemaking through this winter storm. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please hit that like button to let me know. I hope you consider subscribing to my channel to follow along for more homemaking content.